Okay, are we ready for some story time? Love to everybody, man. Love to everyone leaving wonderful comments. I try to get back as much as possible, man. I got 4 kids to chase around. Y'all already know, man. 4 children. Love to everybody out there. Let's just have some story time. Let's just kick back and watch this. I'm getting back on the flat drop because we can't lose our orientation in this whole thing. Everything connects, you know what I'm saying? It's not just about Columbus and indigenous this. We got to understand orientation. All these are part of the hijacks. We got to remove all hijacks. No hijacks allowed. They've hijacked us in many ways, so we got to keep hitting all points of the sword that we're swinging. Love to everybody. Love to everybody. Man. All right, so I'm chilling. I'm going to kick back with y'all. I got my water. I got a wonderful drink from Chef Candy. Chef Candy, man, I can't even tell you. Love to Chef Candy. She's making me feel good. She's giving me all kind of cognac, all kinds of remedies for my allergies, man. Thank y'all for everybody sending me help. I'm actually, trying to get off this dusty balcony pretty soon, so that should help me up a little bit. But yeah, man, love to everybody. Chef Candy runs our Instagram, so if y'all ever got some recipe drop, or just check out the Instagram, man. I mean, you'll see her recipes. You'll see a lot of our stuff that we've been dropping for like a couple years now, man. So y'all can just scroll through all that. And yeah, at 432 the drop. So when y'all get on Instagram, at 432 the drop, add us, man. That's where Chef Candy is dropping her recipes, and she got that book, man. Chef Candy's Electric Trinity Recipes for the Most High. Woo! Dropping recipes with scripture back to back. Every recipe got a scripture, you know what I'm saying? Some wonderful, words of wisdom, encouragement, guidance that she's attaching to everything she does. I mean, that's how our house operates, man. Order over chaos. So let's get into it, man. You know what I'm saying? That's all we gonna do. I'm gonna kick back with you. I am you, you are we. Let go. Story time.
The Book of Genesis. The Masoretic text in its present state. Chapter 1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was waste and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the spirit of Elohim moved upon the face of the waters. And Elohim said, Let there be light. And there was light. And Elohim...
One thing, obviously we know, hey, we're going to hear a lot of hijacks, but let's just relax and, get out your golden pans that, you've assimilated, whatever you call it, everything that you've built to collect the drop. Get ready to collect some great drop. But you're going to hear a bunch of Yahwehs and all kinds of different Ella this and Ella that, pronunciations, you know what I'm saying? It's coming from the hijack. But this is a really good breakdown because he's pretty much going to be kicking Genesis. You know what I mean? So, I'll get it from the top with that in mind. Let's go. Genesis, Barashik.
The Book of Genesis. The Masoretic text in its present state. Chapter 1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was waste and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the spirit of Elohim moved upon the face of the waters. And Elohim said, Let there be light. And there was light. And Elohim saw the light, that it was good. And Elohim divided the light from the darkness. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, one day. And Elohim said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And it was so. And Elohim made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And Elohim saw the firmament, that it was good. And Elohim called the firmament heaven. And there was evening, and there was morning, a second day. And Elohim said, Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And Elohim called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, Let the earth put forth grass, herb yielding seed, and fruit tree bearing fruit after its kind, wherein is the seed thereof upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, herb yielding seed after its kind, and tree bearing fruit, wherein is the seed thereof after its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, a third day. And Elohim said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons, and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And Elohim made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And Elohim set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, a fourth day. And Elohim said, Let the waters swarm with a living pullulation, and let fowl fly above the earth towards the face of the firmament of heaven. And it was so. And Elohim created the great sea monsters, and all the living and creeping things with which the waters swarm, after their kinds, and every winged fowl after its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim blessed them, saying, Be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And there was evening, and there was morning, a fifth day. And Elohim said, Let the earth bring forth the living creature after its kind, cattle, and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after its kind. And it was so. And Elohim made the beast of the earth after its kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the ground after its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over every beast of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. And Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them. And Elohim blessed them. And Elohim said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And Elohim said, Behold, I have given you every herb yielding seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is the breath of life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And Elohim saw everything that he had made, and, behold, it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. And the heaven and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day Elohim finished his work which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day, and hallowed it, because that in it he rested from all his work which Elohim had created and made. These are the genealogies of the heaven and of the earth when they were created. When Satan saw Adam seated on a great throne with a crown of glory on his head and a scepter in his hand, and all the angels worshipping him, he was filled with anger. And when God said to him, "Come, thou also, for thou shalt worship my image and likeness," Satan refused to do so. And, assuming an arrogant and insolent manner, he said, "It is meet that he should worship me, for I existed before he came into being." When the Father saw his overbearing attitude, he knew that Satan's wickedness and rebellion had reached their highest pitch. He ordered the celestial soldiers to take from him the written authority that was in his hand, to strip off his armor, and to hurl him down from heaven to earth. Satan was the greatest of the angels, and God had made him the commander-in-chief of the celestial hosts. And in the document which Satan held in his hand were written the names of all the angels under his command. Knowing their names, saw Adam seated on a great throne with a crown of glory on his head and a scepter in his hand, and all the angels worshipping him, he was filled with anger. And when God said to him, "Come, thou also, for thou shalt worship my image and likeness,"
There's the drop. I say, get out your golden pans, your buckets, and collect the drop so you can enjoy it. Some people come with water already, and they be like, my water's full. What y'all talking about over here? Man, if you don't empty your cup, how can you get the drop? When's the last time we read the book of Daniel? When's the last time we read Daniel 12? How do we interpret knowledge increasing in the end to mean that, oh, well, we always had the drop? No, that means you're just now going to start to get it now, because your spell is over. And everybody should be awakening together. When they come and they look at Drop Nation, they see a bunch of people from all over the country, all over the nation, on the same vibration. Not arguing, but building. With my brother getting to the root of it all, Uno on the beats. What my king said, man, it's the best research team of all time. Because anybody's in it, man. People sending everybody links that don't want to get on camera yet. Cool. They just sending links. If I check my email right now, I can't even tell you how many links, and all of it's going to be leading to something that's connecting to something. And then we just do what? Slingshot. Every bit of drop, every bit of information, slingshot. Like the house of David, slingshot on Goliath. You understand? And that's word to Lex Will. It's word to the kings, man. Word to the queens, man. This is a balance. Energy's very balanced. You know, you don't really have to fight for balance once you're in the frequency, man. You just get it. You feel your mother earth. You feel the womb underneath you, man. You feel wisdom. You feel wisdom. You feel her. And you feel your father. You feel his energy. You feel it rumbling inside of you. Can't sweat the technique. So what'd he say? What the Most High said, he told Satan, he said, you got to get down there and worship my image. Oh. Yeah, see, the creator can create an image and tell you to worship it. But you as creation are out of bounds to create an image of your own to worship. You must worship the image of the creator. You are the image of the creator. So as the image or signature of energy, when you think image, don't just think like I'm looking in the mirror, because what you see in the mirror is not you. You're vibrating at a certain pace, at a certain level to manifest into a physical reality, right? So now we can be a physical thing, but we're not physical, we're vibrating. That's why some of these research scientists are telling you how an atom is 99%, 999%, 99.999% empty space. And if an atom is empty space, then what are you but energy, vibration, frequency? So the Creator created a frequency, an extension of his own signature, his own image, his own frequency. He called it Adam. Here's my stamp. Here's my heritage on the earth. That is the earth. You're going to see how they play with these images and all that. And then they're going to give you one cold shot. We're going to catch it. We're going to catch the real shot. The drop. We're going to catch the drop. And what is this, my steamer, what is this, energy? He refused to get in order. He said, nah. I was created first. You can read some sacred text where, who was it, Joshua, going back and forth with the sun. And the sun saying, why do I have to stand still for you? Again, if the sun has to stand still, that means it's moving around you. You're not going around it unless you're worshiping it. But it's going around you the same way that Satan was supposed to go around you and get down or lay down. And what happened when he didn't get down?
Satan refused to do so, and assuming an arrogant and insolent manner, he said, "It is meet that he should worship me, for I existed before he came into being."
I came first.
When the Father saw his overbearing attitude, he knew that Satan's wickedness and rebellion had reached their highest.
So he said, I came first. In that sacred text, somebody knows what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? The sun said the same thing. I was created before you. Why do I got to stand still for you, Joshua? And he said, don't you get it? You are the reason. I am the reason. You are created. The reason day one had to be and the fish had to be prepared and all these things had to be prepared. Just imagine what you do for someone you love. Imagine how you prepare the house for someone you love. Your husband, your wife, they coming home. Imagine how perfect it has to be before you introduce them. And when he did, he put a scepter in his hand and a crown on his head. You, as my energy, as my frequency, as my vibration, as my image, you will always be. We pass this same vibration from father to son, seed to seed. That's the energy. That's the vibration. And this Mastima said, nah, I can't get down with that. I was created first. The son said, hey, why do I have to stand still for you, Joshua? I was created first. And Joshua had to let him know. The reason you were created was for me, to nourish me. You see, you have dominion over everything. You see, the sun, the moon, you got dominion over everything, every beast, everything. You as a natural energy, as Adam. But not everybody has that signature. That's why they don't have dominion over the animals. They got to put them in zoos. They had to lock them up. Adam had dominion over all the animals. There's a frequency involved with that. There's a vibration you have with an animal when you go back to the signature. When they're in order, they know. I got to get that back a little bit. Let's get that. If I can work this right. Let's just get it from here. Boom.
And over every beast of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. And Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them. And Elohim blessed them. And Elohim said unto them, be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea,
everything,
and over the fowl of the air,
everything,
and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
Bang.
And Elohim said, behold, I have given you every herb yielding seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is the breath of life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And Elohim saw everything that he had made, and, behold, it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. And the heaven and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day Elohim finished his work which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day, and hallowed it, because that in it he rested from all his work which Elohim had created and made. These are the genealogies of the heaven and of the earth when they were created. When Satan saw Adam seated on a great throne with a crown of glory on his head and
Crown
a
of
scepter
glory
in his hand,
and a scepter.
and all the angels worshiping him, he was filled with anger. And when God said to him, Come, thou also, for thou shalt worship my image and likeness, Satan refused to do so. And, assuming an arrogant and insolent manner, he said, It is meet that he should worship me, for I existed before he came into being. When the Father saw his overbearing attitude, he knew that Satan's wickedness and rebellion had reached their highest pitch.
Listen up.
He ordered the celestial soldiers to take from him the written authority that was in his hand, to strip off his armor, and to hurl him down from heaven to earth. Satan was the greatest of the angels, and God had made him the commander-in-chief of the celestial hosts. And in the document which Satan held in his hand were written the names of all the angels under his command. Knowing their names, his authority over them was absolute. When God saw that the angels hesitated to take the document from him, he commanded them to bring a sharp reaping knife and to stab him on this side and that, right through his body to the backbone and shoulder blades. And Satan could no longer stand upright. And a cherub smote him and broke his wings and his ribs. And having rendered him helpless, he cast Satan down from heaven upon the earth. Then he became the archdevil and the leader of those who were cast out of heaven with him.
I already know. Let's get that back. I know somebody's like, what the fuck did I... What? Excuse me, you know. I mean, I've heard it, but I ain't heard it. You know what I'm saying? You know, every time you hear this stuff, it hits you in different dimensions. I know they're coming out the Masoretic text, so it's not going to be coming out your NIV or KJV. About how he refused to bow down to the image of the Creator, which is you, Negro. Don't you understand? Overstand? Man, that's word to Drop Nation. That's the image. That's word to the Cherokee. You dig? That's the image. So, man, he refused to bow down. And then he got stabbed up, held down. But the angels at first, they refused to even take the book. And in the book had the authority. Man, so let's get that back. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Bang.
And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. And the heaven and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day Elohim finished his work which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day, and hallowed it, because that in it he rested from all his work which Elohim had created and made. These are the genealogies of the heaven and of the earth when they were created. When Satan saw Adam seated on a great throne with a crown of glory on his head and a scepter in his hand, and all the angels worshiping him, he was filled with anger. And when God said to him, "Come, thou also, for thou shalt worship my image and likeness." Satan refused to do so, and, assuming an arrogant and insolent manner, he said, "It is meet that he should worship me, for I existed before he came into being." When the Father saw his overbearing attitude, he knew that Satan's wickedness and rebellion had reached their highest pitch. He ordered the celestial soldiers to take from him the written authority that was in his hand, to strip off his armor, and to hurl him down from heaven to earth. Satan was the greatest of the angels, and God had made him the commander-in-chief of the celestial hosts. And in the document which Satan held in his hand were written the names of all the angels under his command. Knowing their names, his authority over them was absolute. When God saw that the angels hesitated to take the document from him, he commanded them to bring a sharp reaping knife and to stab him on this side and that, right through his body to the backbone and shoulder blades. And Satan could no longer stand upright. And a cherub smote him and broke his wings and his ribs. And having rendered him helpless, he cast Satan down from heaven upon the earth. Then he became the archdevil and the leader of those who were cast out of heaven with him, and who henceforth were devils. In the day that Yahweh Elohim made earth and heaven, no bush of the field was yet in the earth, and no herb of the field had yet sprung up. For Yahweh Elohim had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth, and watered the whole face of the ground. And Yahweh Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
Whoa.
And man became a living soul. And Yahweh Elohim planted a garden
Y'all saw that. Y'all saw what they gave you as the real Adam. They gave you all these images, all these hijacks, and then they gave it to you. They gave it away.
In the day that Yahweh Elohim made earth and heaven, no bush of the field was yet in the earth, and no herb of the field had yet sprung up. For Yahweh Elohim had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth, and watered the whole face of the ground. And Yahweh Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of...
Nigga! That's you. Because they had to. They were doing it in colors, see? It said of the ground. They said, oh, so what color's the ground? It might be these copper color people. The color of copper. That dark bronze, ruddy earth. The color of earth are the people of the Creator. Period. I mean, if you're talking about original style, and they had to give you, they had to give you the drop. Say, all right, y'all gonna hang out for 20 minutes. Here you go. Now run off, darkies. Get out of here. Get out of here. So what? So what? We're talking about you. So the whole thing, right? You got to keep this image in your head. I want to back it up again, but you know what I'm saying. Y'all got rewind. Somebody jumped on one video from, man, I think the old, The World Beyond the Poles or something like that. They said, can you stop interrupting whatever video I was featuring. They wanted me to stop interrupting so they can just hear it all the way through. And I'm like, motherfucker. You came here for the interruption. What, you want to keep doing the same shit? You want to watch the video? Go watch the video. You want to get interrupted on? You want to get the drop? Yeah, I want to get I'm so happy I got interrupted to get this drop. Do you know what the Creator had to do to me to interrupt me? ancestors. If you don't agree on anything else, call yourself an Adamite. You are of the image, the vibration of the mother, of the father, of the balance, of the unity. What's going in his mouth or in his nostrils but the breath? Is that the ruach? Is that the frequency? Do you feel it now? Is it still in you? What are you made of? What's inside of you? What's guiding you? So you're going to be filled with something. You see, these people are filled with demons or fallen ones that did not want to get down, so they got laid down. They know they ain't coming up with one more fight. They're just tricking the people to think that there's one more fight. There's not a fight between angels and demons coming up. Oh no, there's only a judgment, and there's only order. Don't get lost in the illusion. You have never been secluded. If the Most High's energy is in your ruach, or is your ruach, or is you, I am, we are, he exists, we exist. I mean, either you got the drop or you don't. What's the drop? Who got the drop? Every one of us, Drop Nation. And look, I'm speaking specific to Drop Nation right now. And, you know, I'm not going for the emotions. But everybody already understands. You vibrate with these people, then you're getting down. You know what I'm saying? We say get down and lay down. That means get behind these people. Support these people. They got GoFundMes. Support that. All right? You see any other ways to support, you support. You build these people up. You build their foundation up the same way you help knock it down. The same way it's in your vibration to cut these people's legs off. Cut their arms off. Destroy nature. Destroy the earth. Destroy the ruach. But the issue is the ruach is all there is. You see, this same ruach is surrounding everybody. But it's only dwelling in the temple of the image, of the frequency, vibration. Hey, yeah. Dig on it. You want to see another image? You're into images today? Okay.
Life. And man became a living soul.
Ah, look at this. What do they do with this guy? Well, they tried, right? Oh, they tried to make him a white man, but he's still coming out the red ground. So it's hard to be white and red. So just because it's so hard to be white and red, they had to put some blur on it so they can blur in the whiteness. It's okay to be white. You just got to be right. It's okay to be white if you're right. No one's yelling at white people if they're right. We're only talking about the hijack. So no one should get offended by any of this. You should understand by reading that those who bless the Most High, meaning those who bless the Most High's image, meaning those who bless the Most High's children, who are the Most High's image, who are the Most High, it's the same energy. Do I have to go back to show you the frequency? You bless his children instead of knocking them down. Well, then, as a proud father, he will say, thank you. You too are blessed. He just witnesses your folk destroy, and then you say it's not me, but you're here. But you're here. But you live and you frolic around Beverly Hills and you frolic around as if the only reason you are frolicking around is not the death of over 300 million Adamites from Adam that have the Most High's image dwelling in them. They were murdered for you to be frolicking around Beverly Hills. They were murdered for your Hollywood. Who cares, right? Well, someone cares. Just believe it or not, someone cares. I know it's hard to believe because no one taught you. No one said, hey, somebody might care one day. The one people that you know, let's just get it from here because, that was an accident, but nothing's on accident. Let's go. I'm just going to let you have it. I'm going to kick back and enjoy this tasty drink from Chef Candy.
And that, right through his body to the backbone and shoulder blades.
Oh.
And Satan could no longer stand upright. And a cherub smote him, and broke his wings and his ribs. And having rendered him helpless, he cast Satan down from heaven upon the earth. Then he became the archdevil and the leader of those who were cast out of heaven with him, and who henceforth were devils. In the day that Yahweh Elohim made earth and heaven, no bush of the field was yet in the earth, and no herb of the field had yet sprung up. For Yahweh Elohim had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth, and watered the whole face of the ground. And Yahweh Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul.
All right, let's go.
And Yahweh Elohim planted a garden in Eden. And there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made Yahweh Elohim to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge. Planted a garden eastward in Eden. Absolute. When God saw that the angels hesitated to take the document from him, he commanded them to bring a sharp reaping knife and to stab him on this side and that, right through his body to the backbone and shoulder blades.
Gotta let this resonate,
Satan could no longer stand upright. And a cherub smote him, and broke his wings and his ribs. And having rendered him helpless, he cast Satan down from heaven upon the earth. Then he became the archdevil and the leader of those who were cast out of heaven with him, and who henceforth were devils. In the day that Yahweh Elohim made earth and heaven, no bush of the field was yet in the earth, and no herb of the field had yet sprung up. For Yahweh Elohim had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth, and watered the whole face of the ground. And Yahweh Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the...
Man, you see how quick I gotta be to catch that? Because they just show this shit quick, and then they're gonna give you another image, and I guarantee you, they show you that 4 times as long. They gave you this quick, man. I just need, man. I wish I had some drums. I'll just start playing some drums on y'all, bro. I don't care. No, I don't care. There you go. Anybody get offended with this image, drop yourself off. I don't even need to drop you off. Dig on it. If you feel nothing but love when looking at this, if you don't understand how beautiful this image is, drop yourself off. I'm talking to the few. I'm talking to the remnant that need to see, because they're poisoned with hijacks, man. They need pure water. They need pure water. Our souls are deserts. We are desert people, man. We need pure water. So, whenever you hear spirit, ruach. You get this image. If you want an image in your head, just imagine. Just imagine the Most High dwelling in you. Just use your imagination and use this as a base for that imagination. You are not a myth. The basis of mythology has foundational legend. There's foundational legends when these things like the Picts come up, and all these things are legends, but they got foundation. You just got to keep digging. And I mean, can't nobody dig on it like this brother is digging on it right now. That's cold chilling. That's cold work. That's swag frequency. All right, let's go.
Breath of life. And man became a living soul.
Now, let's look at him now.
And Yahweh Elohim planted a garden eastward in Eden. And there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made Yahweh Elohim to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted, and became 4 heads. The name of the first is Pishon. That is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There is the Badolalah and the Shoham stone. And the name of the second river is Kihon. The same is it that encompasseth the whole land of Cush.
Okay.
And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it which goeth in front of Ashir. And the fourth river is the Phrath, or Euphrates. And Yahweh Elohim took the man, and put him into the garden of Eden, to dress it, and to keep it. And Yahweh Elohim commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. And Yahweh Elohim said, It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an help, answering to him. And out of the ground Yahweh Elohim formed every beast of the field, and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto the man to see what he would call them. And whatsoever the man called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And the man gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for man there was not found an help meet for him. And Yahweh Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which Yahweh Elohim had taken from the man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And the man said, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, Ishah, because she was taken out of man, Ish. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of any tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, Of the fruit of the trees of the garden we may eat. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for Elohim doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as Elohim, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat. And she gave also to her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves girdles. And they heard the voice of Yahweh Elohim in the breeze of the evening. And the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim.
Now, I just want to say this because makes sense, I think. When we think consciousness, how this tree made them conscious where, you know, this serpent, right, is saying, you know, you're going to be like Elohim. You're going to be like the Most High. You're gonna understand good and evil. Yet we just read that the scepter was handed to Adam. The angels bowed and worshipped the image of the Most High, which means that the image had always been there. He always had dominion, but consciousness of good and evil, consciousness hadn't been reached until this particular situation. So this consciousness of understanding whatever this good and evil is, you know, maybe he only understood good and didn't understand evil at all. Maybe he was only created in the image of the Most High, and maybe he just only understood good things. And maybe this was the hijack that now he's understanding the evil things, and that's why his seeds go some way into the evil, some way into the good, some good and evil. You know what I'm saying? So we're just vibing. Hope you guys are enjoying the classroom movie time. Let go.
Amongst the trees of the garden. And Yahweh Elohim called unto the man, and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee, that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And Yahweh Elohim said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And Yahweh Elohim said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, cursed art thou from among all cattle, and from among every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the...
And that makes more sense. Even like, how did you know you were naked? Just think about the consciousness of it. Before, it's like, they're just some dumb... This is how religion teaches this story. And this is how the vibration raises the understanding, you know what I'm saying, or comprehension. It's like, we're looking at this story like these people are created, but they're just kind of stupid because they don't know good and evil. They don't know nothing. But now you eat this tree, and then now you get sciences, right? Now you got the sciences. Now you got intelligence. That's how they teach a story. So now you were enlightened with intelligence. Or we can look at it in a higher vibration. This Adam, this Kwa, however you want to say her name, Eve, that's what they're, you know, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. These two people, all right, they're in a frequency already. They're in the garden, man. Do you know how dope that would be? But you need to be in a vibration to be in the garden. Now, in the garden, it's only good. It's only good. But there's one tree that will give you the consciousness of the evil as well. Then you have this fight from then on, this fight between this consciousness battle, this energetic battle. It's almost like you broke a barrier. But the tree was there, so the Most High had to know someone was going to eat that tree. And thus, here we are. So now they got this. So how do they know they're naked? So first, you know, Most High in religion, how do you know you're naked? Oh, there must be some dumbasses, because anybody would know they're naked. Only an animal wouldn't know they're naked. Now we can push evolution on these people like they're animals. Only an animal doesn't know they're naked, right? Or do animals or does Adam and Eve in the garden, because they're only in the consciousness of the Creator, in the image, in the good of the Creator, they're able to walk around naked. Now, they know they're naked, but they don't see it as a bad thing, right? So when he says, well, how did you know you're naked? Like, why would you say that? You guys were pure. You're beautiful. You're in the garden. You don't need to cover yourself in the garden because you are not consciously having sick thoughts. You are not poisoned. You are not infected with sadistic thoughts. So you can see a woman and not want to rape her. You can appreciate only good and enjoy only good. Now the consciousness has shifted and they see it as, ooh, I'm naked. I'm having crazy thoughts about this stuff. And then now we got to gird our loins. Gird your loins. Because now you got to gird yourself from your own sadistic thoughts. But before you ate that, or before you opened that gateway, or brought that other, you know what I'm saying, frequency into the balance, you can only exist in the purity of things, the vibration of things, the good in things. In the good of things, just like a baby. You don't think a baby knows it's naked? Of course the baby knows it's naked, but he just doesn't see it as anything negative until you teach him to gird his loins because of the possible sadistic thoughts that some stranger might have. So now you got a daughter, right? I got a daughter, and it's like, okay, yeah, you know, dress like this and dress like that, right? Because of the craziness out here. But in the garden, there was no craziness out there. So you have to take that whole consciousness away. So now when he says, how did you know you're naked, Adam? You know, how did you learn to think like that? That's only a gateway to evil, twistedness. How did you twist nakedness? You know what I'm saying? In the etymology of evil, when you get the twisted, how did you twist nakedness? Why would you call it that? Why would you refer to each other in that consciousness? Just a thought.
Days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Upon thy breast and belly he shall keep watch against thy head, and thou shalt keep his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow, and thy conception. In sorrow shalt thou bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. And unto the man he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake. In toil shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat bread till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. And the man called his wife's name Havah, because she was the mother of all living. And Yahweh Elohim made for the man and for his wife tunics of skins, and clothed them. And Yahweh Elohim said, behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand, and take also of the tree of life, and eat, and live forever. Therefore Yahweh Elohim sent him forth from the Garden of Eden, to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden the cherubim, in the flame of a sword which turned every way, to keep the way of the tree of life. And the man knew Havah his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man with the help of Yahweh. And again she bare his brother Habel, and Habel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yahweh. And Habel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And Yahweh had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And Yahweh said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shall it not be lifted up? And if thou doest not well, sin coucheth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain said unto Abel his brother, Let us go out into the plain. And it came to pass, when they were in the plain, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. And Yahweh said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now cursed art thou from the ground, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a wanderer shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto Yahweh, Mine iniquity is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the ground, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer in the earth. And it shall come to pass that whosoever findeth me shall slay me. And Yahweh said unto him, Therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And Yahweh appointed a sign for Cain, lest any finding him should smite him. And Cain went out from the presence of Yahweh, and dwelt in the land of Nod, exile, on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived, and bare Hanoch. And he builded a city, and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Hanoch. And Adam lived 130 years, and begat a son in his own likeness, after his own image, and called his name Seth. Genesis 5:3. Information in Book 2, Adam and Eve, explains that Seth was conceived, then born 7 years after the death of Abel. Adam also named Seth. That means God has heard my prayer, his sadness over Abel's death, and has delivered me out of my affliction. But it also means power and strength. Following the deaths of Adam and Eve, Seth became the head of the house of Adam. He and his descendants continued to live on God's holy mountain and continued on in the priesthood. After Seth died, the headship was then passed on to Enos, then to Kenan, to Mahalalel, to Jared, to Enoch, to Methuselah, to Lamech, and then to Noah, who begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. After the birth of Seth and Achle his son Enos, then men began to invoke the Lord by name, Genesis 4:26, and thus began the establishment of deity worship and the struggle between evil and good on earth among mankind. The making of Eve. And God cast a sleep upon Adam, and he slept. And God took a rib from the loins on the right side of Adam, and he made Kawa, i.e. Eve, from it. And when Adam woke up and saw Eve, he rejoiced in her greatly. And Adam and Eve were in paradise, and clothed with glory and shining with praise for 3 hours. Now this paradise was situated on a high range of hills, and it was 30 spans, according to the measurement of the Spirit, higher than all the high mountains, according to our image and likeness. Zelem means a shadow, hence an image from its shadowing forth. In 2 Kings, it means idols. Demuth is likeness, likeness in form. It occurs again in this sense in Psalms and Ezekiel. Maimonides explains this to refer not to any corporeal resemblance, but to the divine intellect, philosophically the active as distinguished from the passive intellect, which has been imparted to man. Nefesh ayah. Nefesh is a word, the primary meaning of which is the vital principle common to all living beings. It means here breath of life. The kalpos order, which adds, and God finished on the 6th day his works which he made. This portion of the verse gives us the invariable form in which the titles of every section of the book of genealogies consisting the Elohistic document begin. It ought to have preceded the history of the creation, which forms the first chapter in the present state of the text. But the editor who finally combined the Elohistic and Jehovistic documents has placed it at the end. It is evident that he wished to begin the sacred book by affirming the doctrine of the creation ex nihilo, contained in chapter 1, in opposition to the doctrines of emanation which were held by the pagan nations by whom the Israelites were surrounded. Philo, however, and the Alexandrian Jews saw nothing in the Mosaic cosmogony inconsistent with the pre-existence of matter. Philo, on the incorruptibility of the world, says, "As nothing is generated out of nothing, so neither can anything which exists be destroyed, so as to become non-existence. For it is impossible that anything should be generated of that which has no existence anywhere, and equally so that what does exist should be so utterly destroyed as never to be mentioned or heard of again." And indeed, in this spirit, the tragedian says, "Not that ere has been, completely dies but things combined, before another union find, quitting their former company, and so again in other forms are seen." From Euripides. In the beginning, on the first day, which was the holy first day of the week, the chief and firstborn of all the days, God created the heavens, and the earth, and the waters, and the air, and the fire, and the hosts which are invisible, that is to say, the angels, archangels, thrones, lords, principalities, powers, cherubim, and seraphim, and all the ranks and companies of spiritual beings in the light, and the night, and the daytime, and the gentle winds and the strong winds, i.e. storms. All these were created on the first day. And on the first day of the week the Spirit of holiness, one of the persons of the Trinity, hovered over the waters, and through the hovering thereof over the face of the waters were blessed, so that they might become producers of offspring. And they became hot, and the whole nature of the waters glowed with heat, and the leaven of creation was united to them. As the mother bird maketh warm her young by the embrace of her closely covering wings, and the young birds acquire form through the warmth of the heat which they derive from her, so through the operation of the Spirit of holiness, the Spirit, the Paraclete, the leaven of the breath of life, was united to the waters, when he hovered over them. Notes: according to Solomon, a Nestorian bishop of Parath-Meshan, or Al-Basra, a city on the right bank of the Shat al-Arab, about AD 1222. The creation of the heavens and the earth has been planned from everlasting and immutable mind of God. He created 7 substances, or natures, in silence, without voice, viz. heaven, earth, water, air, fire, the angels, and darkness. The earth was plunged in the midst of the waters. Above the waters was air, and above the air was fire. Water is cold and moist. Air is hot and moist. Fire is hot and dry. But it had no luminosity until the 4th day, when the luminaries were created. The angels are divided into 9 classes and 3 orders. The upper order contains cherubim, seraphim, and thrones, and these are bearers of God's throne. The middle order contains lords, powers, and rulers. The lower order contains principalities, archangels, and angels. Compare the thrones or dominions or principalities or powers of Colossians 1:16. The cherubim are an intellectual motion. The seraphim are a fiery motion. The thrones are a fixed motion. The lords are a motion which governs the motions beneath it and controls the devils. The powers are a motion which gives effect to God's will. The rulers are a motion which rules spiritual measures and the sun, moon, and stars. The principalities are a motion which rules the elements. The archangels are a swift operative motion which governs every living creature except man. And the angels are a motion which has spiritual knowledge of everything which is in heaven or on the earth. The guardian angel of every man belongs to this last class. The number of each class of angels is equal to the number of all mankind from Adam to the resurrection. The heaven in which the angels live is above the waters, which are above the firmament, and they minister to their God there, being invisible to bodily eyes. The angels are not self-existent beings. They were created. On the other hand, darkness is a self-existent nature or substance. The creation, second day. And on the second day, God made the lower heaven and called it Rekia, that is to say, what is solid and fixed, or firmament.
Rakwa.
This he did, that he might make known that the lower heaven doth not possess the nature of the heaven which is above it, and that it is different in appearance from that heaven which is above it, for the heaven above it is of fire, and that second heaven is Nura, i.e. light, and this lower heaven is Darpishion. And because it hath the dense nature of water, it hath been called Rekia. And on the second day God made a separation between the waters and the waters, that is to say, between the...
Okay, so we've been rocking for a minute. I kept out of it. But you see the separation. So when you say frequency, and when you research that 440 hertz frequency, only connects you to 8 out of 12 of the musical octaves. So the frequency disconnects 4 of the higher octaves. So which 4 are that? Are those? What is that? Which octaves, and why would they disconnect you purposely and tune all your music according to 1951, the International Standards Organization, ISO? I think it was a British standards, things before that. Of course, this is a corporation owned by a corporation. So if we're owned by the London company and we go back to what's going on there, and then we connect all our situation that we're talking about with our history there and here, now we see the bigger picture. Why would 440 hertz coming out your radio every day, although you ignore it? That's why we're working so hard on our tuning programs, getting our app ready for you, everything that we can, so that you can stay in swag frequency on the go. We are working, trust me. That's word to Smiles, man. That's doing so much for us behind the scenes, so thank you, Smile. Everybody, just send Smiles a thank you. Send Hallway a thank you. You know what I'm saying? Great family, wonderful energy, man. So we really appreciate what they're doing specifically for us getting our music tuned. So look, why are they disconnecting us out the radio? Why is it coming out the TV in 440? Why when you go to see a movie, all that's in 440? Why does Rihanna got to drop everything in 440? I mean, damn, they do different versions of their album all the time. They drop a B-side all the time. Why can't they drop a B-side in 432? Why can't they drop, you know what I'm saying, the next, whoever album, Chance the Rapper, say, all right, I'm going to put this in 432, and I'll put this in 440. Or just put the whole thing in 432, unless they got no control over this, which they don't, of course. So now we got to reach out to our drop artists, our independent producers. You know what I'm saying? Get with us. Let's rock this music thing, man. Let's bring music right from nature. Let's bring it right from the core, right from the creator. Let's create in that frequency and see how much doper we can be. That's why I got at Uno on the beats. I said, man, I'm inspired by B.O.B., man. I'm just going to drop something. I don't care if 2 people download it. It's free. I'm going to do a free joint. Me and Uno on the beats. We dropping it. And we just going to talk that truth. And it's going to be all in 432. So you know you come here, everything's in 432. 4 plus 3 plus 2 is 9. Let's go.
Waters which are above Rekia, and the waters which were below. And the ascent of these waters which were above heaven took place on the second day. And they were like unto a dense black cloud of thick darkness. Thus were they raised up there, and they mounted up, and behold, they stand above the Rekia in the air, and they do not spread, and they make no motion to any side. The creation of the firmament enabled God to allot a dwelling place to the angels. Also the souls of the righteous could be received after the general resurrection. The great abyss of water which God created on the first day was divided by him into 3 parts. One part he left on the earth for the use of man and beast, and to form rivers and seas. Of the second part he made the firmament, and the third part the place above the firmament. After the resurrection, all these parts will return to...
Look at that. So people try to go to Isaiah 40:22. Oh, look, he sitteth on a circle of the earth. It must be a sphere. Circle means sphere. It's a sphere of water spinning. See, look, it says circle. Come on, man. Stop being silly. It's silliness. Ridiculous, man. Circle. That word is shawug. C-H-U-W-G. Which means round. So when he says he beat out Rakwa, he spread out, beat out. When he spread out the heavens, Shamayim, he beat out Rakwa, the solid fixture. That is the firmament. Come on. He beat it out, Rakwa. Shawug, he that sitteth on the circle, the Shawug, he that sitteth on the Shawug, the roundness. He that sitteth on the throne on the roundness of the Rakwa that he beat out and spread out, Shamayim. Like a tent for you to dwell in. This is getting real time, real spill. You got to know your orientation. You got to stop spinning. Got to stop spinning.
The word darpition is a difficulty.
If you don't stop spinning, you're going to be subconsciously spinning forever at 1100 miles per hour. If you do not get off your spinning ball, you will never stop spinning. And how can you ever truly be conscious if you're spinning forever? How can you meditate and be still if you're spinning on a ball at 1100 miles per hour forever, perpetually, like your servitude is perpetually, according to the Dumb Diverses, 1452, Papal Bull, Nicholas V. Let's go. Shawu, beat out, round, stop spinning. Shamai.
And I cannot explain it. The variant forms Diricon and Derticon appear in Ethiopic books, wherein it is said to be a name of the 6th heaven, the creation, 3rd day. And on the 3rd day God commanded the waters that were below the firmament, Rekia, to be gathered together in one place, and the dry land to appear. And when the covering of water had been rolled up from the face of the earth showed itself to be in an unsettled and unstable state. That is to say, it was of a damp or moist and yielding nature. And the waters were gathered together into seas that were under the earth and within it, and upon it. And God made in the earth from below corridors and shafts and channels for the passage of the waters.
The
and
mounted
the winds
water.
which come from within
Mounted
the earth
water.
ascend by means of these corridors and channels, and also the heat, and also the wind for the service of the earth. Now, as for the earth, the lower part of it is like unto a thick sponge, for it resteth on the waters. And on this 3rd day God commanded the earth, and it brought forth herbs and vegetables, and it conceived in its interior trees and seeds and plants and roots. Note, on this day the waters gathered together in the depths of the earth. Sand was set as a...
Meditate on this. This is the Maya description of the earth. No, it's not a sphere. Alright? You don't see a bunch of land bending. Land does not curve. Land is relatively flat except for the mountains and all that stuff. Alright? So you're living on a flat plane, however long and far it goes. No man knows. Right? Those are the riddles. But these are the chambers. You see the higher, you know what I'm saying, the luminaries inside Rakwa, inside the firmament that was beaten out. The angels are dwelling above the solid firmament. When your land gets flooded, the chambers, the portals are open, and water floods your land. You see how easy it is to flood the earth when the waters from above fall down? Now, interesting drop. You know, the bottom is like a sponge. So there's waters above, waters below. All right. So the water's able to float up. That's why you got islands and these lands sinking and coming back up, because I guess eventually they have to come back up because the bottom is like a sponge. So first they're pushed down, then they bounce back up because they got sponge bottoms. You know what I'm saying? Interesting though, man. So that's the Mayan drop. I showed you guys, you know what I'm saying, the Egyptian joint, you know what I'm saying, with the, who's that, Geb, or, the sky goddess Nut. You know what I'm saying? She's arching over Geb, who is the, representative of the earth, you know what I'm saying? And he's laid down, like, looking like mountains, and she's stretched over him with all the stars. Everything is within her, within the sky goddess, within the sky, within the firmament, within the rakwa that was spread out like a tent for you to dwell in. Do you get the picture of your habitat? Oh, they didn't know nothing because they didn't have NASA. NASA don't have NASA. Who's NASA? Have you researched lately? Have they given you a live feed of your ball of water and your land curving into a ball spinning? Have you ever seen that? Shouldn't it be a live feed from one of the 580 million satellites? They go to Pluto. They got pictures of Andromeda, all kinds of distant galaxies. You got great shots of those. No picture of your Earth. Not one that is not. It has to be a composite. NASA says it themselves. It got to be a composite. They said, oh, well, they have to be composites because we're gathering all these images. I'm like, whoa. So you're not able to get to a distance to turn around and take a picture of the Earth? You have to gather a bunch of different images from things that are closer, that's not far enough to see the whole Earth? Oh, but the one from the Apollo mission, no, that's been, just do some research, man. How do you trust something named Apollo and then understand Apollyon and then understand Abaddon and then understand Zeus and then understand Isus and then understand the hijacked Jesus, the sun, Apollo? You willing to stand against your brother with your substantiating evidence being from Apollo as your source? Should NASA be your guide, or should you get off the vector?
Limit for the waters of the seas, and the mountains and hills appeared. And the sages say that paradise was created on this day, but the rabbis held the view that it existed before the world. Solomon of Al-Basra says that the earth produced herbs and trees by its own power, and that the luminaries had nothing to do with vegetable growth. Book of the Bee, chapter 9, the creation, 4th day. And on the 4th day God made the sun and the moon and the stars. And as soon as the heat of the sun was...
Nah, y'all heard that. Y'all heard that. Do I have to? Let's just get this right quick. Let's just get this right quick.
And on this 3rd day God commanded the earth, and it brought forth herbs and vegetables, and it conceived in its interior trees and seeds and plants and roots. Note, on this day the waters gathered together in the depths of the earth. Sand was set as a limit for the waters of the seas, and the mountains and hills appeared. And the sages say that paradise was created on this day, but the rabbis held the view that it existed before the world.
Huh.
Solomon of Al-Basra says that the earth produced herbs and trees by its own power, and that the luminaries had nothing to do with vegetable growth.
In other words, translation, he's saying the sun got nothing to do with things growing. So these people are worshiping the sun. And according to, this Solomon person, you could research him, you could rewind it, you can get all that drop. He said that the earth produced on its own. How do you get a tree in the desert? The earth produced on its own. The earth provides, meaning Heya provides. He has given her the order to do so. She is in the balance for her children. She mourns for her children. The slaughter, the bloodshed, she mourns. So you see, You had to drop the whole time. But we always gotta learn the hard way.
Book of the Bee, chapter 9. The creation, fourth day. And on the fourth day God made the sun and the moon and the stars. And as soon as the heat of the...
Right quick, so this is the fourth day. Now he's making the sun. This is going further into what we're saying. That if he's just now making the sun, how did the herbs and the trees and everything get created before the sun? And why did the Solomon, you know what I'm saying, teacher, whatever he is, why did he have to say that the earth produces on her own, that the luminaries got nothing to do with it? Now you see, on the fourth day, the sun is now created. But didn't the Most High already said, let there be light? So the sun is not the source of light. Heya is the source of light. Then he created the sun to govern the day, and the moon to govern the night. So it's silly to worship luminaries. You see, you're out of order.
The sun was diffused over the surface of the earth. The earth became hard and rigid, and lost its flaccidity, because the humidity and the dampness caused by the waters were taken away from it. The Creator made the sphere of the sun of fire, and filled it with light. And God gave unto the sphere of the moon and the stars bodies of water and air, and filled them with light.
Water and
And when
air.
the dust of the earth became hot, it brought forth all the trees, and plants, and seeds, and roots which had been conceived inside it on the third day. Notes: the cases of the sun, moon, and stars.
Hold up. So, water of day. Hold up, man. You're going too fast. This is too good. I can't sit on the silent. It's too good. We just got a few more minutes. I'm going to drop of this, and then I'm going to give y'all the link. Y'all check the rest out, because clearly I can't get any further than this, because it's too much drop. But check it out. So, he said the sun and these luminaries, the sun and the moon have bodies of water and air. Now you take that and go to those cymatics experiments, and you see how sound goes through the medium of water or air or sand, and that gives off that vibration, that gives off that form, that gives off that that spark, that light. So you look at a star, that is water and air. You have waters above, waters below. They're not millions of miles away. They are a few thousand miles away. They are within the Rakwa, within the firmament. Those stars are close, and they're vibrating water and air. The moon is water and air. All this is light. Light is water and air. You are how much water? So what happens when the vibration hits you? You feel something. You light up. People say you are glowing. Yeah, man. Fuck yeah. I feel something. I'm lighting up. All that water in me is meeting. It's having a marriage with the frequency itself, with the ruach itself. So you take that spark, that ruach. That's why I kept going back to that image of Adam and that ruach going into his nostrils, because that's the spark. Now you put that with that water that's inside of him, and oh boy, what the Most High say, you will one day shine like the stars. So what's coming? What kind of bodies are we about to get? I mean, you've been looking up in the sky the whole time, right? Why do they fear tribes?
Were made of aerial or ethereal matter, after the manner of lamps. And God filled them with a mixture of fire which had no light in it, and with light which had no heat in it.
Huh.
The path of the luminaries is beneath the firmament. They are not fixed as the ignorant think, but are guided in their courses by the angels. The Ethiopians have a tradition that when the sun was first made, its light was 12 times as strong as it is today.
Wow.
The angels complained that the heat was too strong and that it hampered them in the performance of their duties, whereupon God divided it into 12 parts. He took away 6 of these parts, and out of 3 of them he made the moon and stars, and the other 3 he distributed among the waters, the clouds, and the lightning.
Let me get my battery.
The creation,
So
5th
good.
day. And on the 5th day God commanded the waters, and they brought forth all kinds of fish of diverse appearances, and creatures which move about and twist themselves and wriggle in the waters, and serpents, and leviathan, and beasts of terrible aspects, and feathered fowl of the air and of the waters. And on this same day God made from the earth all the cattle and wild beasts, and all the reptiles which creep about upon the earth. Notes, according to the Book of the Bee, chapter 12, beasts and animals were created on Friday evening, and they can therefore see at night as well as in the daytime.
Wow.
In the Book of Mysteries of Heaven and Earth, whales and the behemoth are mentioned with Leviathan. The creation, 6th day. And on the 6th day, which is the eve of the Sabbath, God formed man out of the dust, and Eve from his rib. And on the 7th day God rested from his labors, and it is called Sabbath, the creation of Adam. Now the formation of Adam took place in this wise. On the 6th day, which is the eve of the Sabbath, at the 1st hour of the day, when quietness was reigning over all the ranks of the angels and the hosts of heaven, God said, Come ye, let us make man in our image, and according to our likeness. Now by this word, us, he maketh known concerning the glorious persons of the Trinity. And when the angels heard this utterance, they fell into a state of fear and trembling. And they said to one another, A mighty miracle will be made manifest to us this day, that is to say, the likeness of God, our Maker. And they saw the right hand of God opened out flat, and stretched out over the whole world, and all creatures were elected in the palm of his right hand.
Wow.
And they saw that he took from the whole mass of the earth 1 grain of dust, and from the whole nature of water 1 drop of water,
Wow.
and from all the air which is above 1 puff of wind, and from the whole nature of fire a little of its heat and warmth. And the angels saw that when these 4 feeble or inert materials were placed in the palm of his right hand, that is to say, wind and heat and dryness and moisture, God formed Adam. Now, for what reason did God make Adam out of these 4 materials, unless it were to show that everything which is in the world should be in subordination to him through them? He took a grain from the earth in order that everything in nature which is formed.
Vibrate. Activate. If you have not activated, then that should activate you. Go to sleep right now and just meditate on it. Let's get it.
Rib. And on the 7th day God rested from his labors, and it is called Sabbath, the creation of Adam.
The Sabbath is called the creation of Adam. Who are you? What do they say their 2 greatest quandaries, their 2 greatest questions, their 2 greatest theories, things they want to, have an hypothesis for? They say, what happened to the tribes, and where did those Americans come from? Where did those indigenous people over there come from? They don't know. That's why we tell them. They don't know who we are. They can't tell us who we're not. We are the wind. We are everything. We are the spark. We are the fire that never can be quenched. So this day that we're trying to keep our knucklehead family to just remind them. The Most High is looking back like, look, you're disgracing yourself. This Sabbath is called you. Because I love you. And I created you last after everything was complete for you. And all I gave you was order. And all you brought me is chaos.
Now the formation of Adam took place in this wise. On the 6th day, which is the eve of the Sabbath, at the first hour of the day, when quietness was reigning over all the ranks of the angels and the hosts of heaven, God said, Come ye, let us make man in our image, and according to our likeness. Now by this word, us, he maketh known concerning the glorious persons of the Trinity.
Listen up.
And when the angels heard this utterance, they fell into a state of fear and trembling. And they said to one another, A mighty miracle will be made manifest to us this day, that is to say, the likeness of God, our Maker. And they saw the right hand of God opened out flat, and stretched out over the whole world, and all creatures were lected in the palm of his right hand. And they saw that he took from the whole mass of the earth 1 grain of dust,
Listen.
and from the whole nature of water 1 drop of water,
Dust, water.
and from all the air which is above 1 puff of wind,
Dust, water,
and from the
wind.
whole nature of fire a little of its heat and warmth.
And a little heat.
And the angels saw that when these 4 feeble or
Dust, water, air or wind, and the fire, the heat. Those are the elements that created you. That is the Sabbath. Those are the things that were created by this time. And this is you. All that creation that was created up into you, all that drop, the best of it, went into you. And you disgrace yourselves. To be hijacked like we are is a disgrace, man. I don't care what curse we're under. It's a disgrace. To feel so alone because you're getting the drop at a time when you're supposed to be collecting the drop and emptying all the hijacks out, all that bullshit water in your cup, throw it out. It ain't about ego. Research this. You got the links. Ain't about who's right, who's wrong. It's only order, man. Everybody can't be right. I ain't trying to sit down and have a whole forum about people who thinks they right. Everybody can't be right. And if I'm wrong, then what's the result? Getting your land back? Well, that's the good type of wrong, right? That's the result. It's getting your land back, your freedom. That's the wrong I want. That's all I'm trying to get. That's all 432 is. That's all Drop Nation is. A bunch of people that's like, I don't want to be knuckleheads, man. I want to put in some work somehow, some way to get my freedom now.
materials were placed in the palm of his right hand. That is to say, wind and heat and dryness and moisture. God formed Adam. Now, for what reason did God make Adam out of these four materials, unless it were to show that everything which is in the world should be in subordination to him through them?
Everything that is in this world should be in subordination to him or you, black people, through all these elements. Everything will be in subordination through all these elements that are you. What does that mean? I'm going to let you dig on that.
He took a grain from the earth in order that everything in nature which is formed of earth should be subject unto him.
Whoa.
And a drop of water in order that everything which is in the seas and rivers should be his.
Wow.
And a puff of air, so that all kinds of creatures which fly in the air might be given unto him.
Let's go.
And the heat of fire, so that all the beings that are fiery in nature, and the celestial hosts might be his helpers.
Bang.
God formed Adam with his holy hands, in his own image and likeness. And when the angels saw Adam...
Now we hear everybody else's creation story. You go to the Sumerian tablets, everybody else, and it's somebody else doing the work. Because when they do that shit, they hijack us. When somebody else is it, then we're like, oh, well, he didn't really create it. Somebody else really kind of did all the work. Come on, people. It is a personal thing. This shit is personal. Don't you feel it? You Can't make it impersonal when it's personal. How many times we gotta get knocked upside the head to know this is a personal thing? This doesn't just happen. You see, my children, we were judged first. We got our judgment first in front of the whole world. Now everyone can bear witness to the ass whooping that the children of Heya took for going against their father. It wasn't just some happenstance or someone just found us and just started doing all these evils unto us. Nah, because then that means that they had to drop on us and that we couldn't defend ourselves if it was just, you know what I'm saying, head up. But we know the records. We know that the Spaniards got booted out in 1638. We know that how the Mayans fought. We know how the Aztecs fought, how they retreated into their jungles. That's what the goal of war, guerrilla warfare is. They retreated into their jungles and whooped so much ass, and they came out again and scrapped and then retreated back into their jungles and scrapped some more. Where do you gotta go to re-up your jungle? That's where you start. That's where you activate. That's where you come together. However you do. What do? Just start talking to people around you. Start talking to your community. Ain't about YouTube. I told you I got a few more weeks on this. Hey, if you see me on YouTube next year, then say, man, you ain't shit. I'm done. This is real life, yo. This ain't no, I'm done. On to the next one, right? On to the next level. On to the next plan. On to the next episode. And we rocking together. We know where we meeting up at. We know what time it is. Revolution won't be televised, right? We know what time it is. Anybody just trying to get some drop, you take that, you build it. You build your community. You build Drop Nation around you. People that just want to drop, you use all these hundreds of hours of published work to research all these links. And you get your community, or you link with someone. And you follow the breadcrumbs that's been left. It's very, But you do it, man. Because this ain't a game. Because the worst thing you could be is inactive. The worst thing you could be is just left behind. Trust me. The wilderness will humble everybody. Everybody gets humbled in the wilderness. It's happened for thousands of years. You can't bring your ego in the wilderness. So you're going to have to choose order first and then start making plans for the wilderness. Don't try to make plans for the wilderness with your hijacks. And I know a lot of people, that's prophecy, right, are going to go to the wilderness with their hijacks. As if the trees are going to accept you. You are the earth. You are Heya. You are all that he's created. You are everything in one. You are the full Monty. You are the full package. You're in swag frequency. So look what they had to do to tune you out. They had to have meetings. The International Standards Organization had to have meetings about how they're going to tune your music to 440 and disconnect you from 8 or 4 out of the 12. Only connect you to 8 out of the 12 music octaves. Music is frequency, right? So they're taking out 4 of the higher octaves of frequency every time you listen to the radio. Every CD you play, every MP3, every single one. Everything. And who ain't talking about that? They ain't talking about shit. They don't understand this is a frequency war, vibration war. They ain't talking about shit. Because like I said, Tesla said it best. Everything. If you want to understand the secrets, it breaks back down into energy, frequency, and vibration. We got a few more minutes.
Glorious appearance, they were greatly moved by the beauty thereof. For they saw the image of his face burning with glorious splendor like the orb of the sun.
Wow.
And the light of his eyes was like the light of the sun.
Wow.
And the image of his body was like unto the sparkling of crystal. And when he rose at full length and stood upright in the center of the earth, he planted his 2 feet on that spot whereupon was set up the cross of our Redeemer. For Adam was created in Jerusalem.
All right,
There
hijack.
he was arrayed in the apparel of sovereignty, and there was the crown of glory set upon his head.
The crown.
There was he made king and priest and prophet.
King, priest, prophet. Does this sound like the dumbass Adam you get in Christianity? Then they want to put a cross. You already know. I ain't got to address it. I ain't even got to address it. We're getting this out the Masoretic text. I ain't even got to address it. We get it. They haven't, you know, the eyes are closed. But look, your eyes are open now, baby. Your eyes are fully open, baby. Now it's just about getting the drop, right? Now you see it. Don't act like you can't see yet. You see it all, man. You see it all because you are all. You are all that he's created, all in one. The best of it. The very best. So now do you see why he gets just a little upset when you serve another creator or something that's created something else, right? There's a bunch of little creators that are creating a lot of spliced things, a lot of hijack hybrids, right? We know that. But the creator, do you see how it gets a little pissed when you choose a little creator? When you choose a little bit of hijack, someone who can do some little tricks and play with energy a certain way or have a certain level of gifts here and there, but who's giving them their gifts? Don't let me go back to the whole, you know, my steamer drop. There's order or there's nothing at all. And we'll get into how these people really believe that it's chaos, then order. They believe this Big Bang theory, right? Everything started with chaos and then somehow order was there. That's their story picking up when this dweller, right? This vibration that was kicked out of the higher vibrations. That's where their story picks up with chaos. So the entire story, how they, assimilate us into their culture, how they inception us is chaos based on where the story picks up. Remember, who's writing the story? They give you a dumbass Adam. This person, these texts, whoever, this is, you research it. It's giving you an Adam that's shining like crystal. Shining on him. And then he's dumb because he don't know he's naked. Or is he so good that the thought of being naked don't even cross their mind? They're in Eden, man. They're in Eden. Adam and his lady is in Eden, living it up, and got jammed up and got hijacked. Then this evil twisted vibration, now it's a part of their conscious. Now it's a part of your conscious. That was their fall into a lower vibration. They couldn't be in that lower vibration and be in Eden. The Most High had to protect Eden, or else they would tear it up like they did America. Looking for oil, killing the mother. Running a thing off of oil, putting concrete. Every time I see skyscrapers, I think all this concrete just hurting our mother, hurting the earth, hurting the womb. But yeah, every dog has his day, right? Alright, almost making our dismount.
There did God make him to sit upon his honorable throne. And there did God give him dominion over all creatures and things. And all the wild beasts and all the cattle and the feathered fowl were gathered together. And they passed before Adam, and he assigned names to them. And they bowed their heads before him. And everything in nature worshipped him.
Everything.
And submitted themselves unto him.
Everything.
And the angels and the hosts of heaven heard the voice of God saying unto him, Adam, behold, I have made thee king and priest and prophet and lord and head, and governor of everything which hath been made and created. And they shall be in subjection unto thee, and they shall be thine. And I have given unto thee power over everything which I have created. And when the angels heard this speech, they all bowed the knee and worshipped him. Notes, the Jews consider that the words, come let us make man, refer to God and the angels. But the fathers of the Syrian church understand that God refers to the three persons of the Trinity. Some fathers believe that Adam was formed on the morning of the...
Alright, now they're, here's their hijack Trinity shit, but y'all hear that. So this Adam is your ancestor. This is your bloodline, your energy line, right? And this energy has dominion over all these other frequencies, and they know it by order, or they are judged by order. Now, even the angels heard that and said, whoa, over all creation. And then they got down and bowed down in order. But not Satan, right? Not this, you know what I'm saying? This general. I mean, let's keep it real. This was the general of an army. The angels even hesitated before they took his book, his authority book away. I mean, it's like turning against your head God. And the Creator had to test their loyalty, and some still went with them. Some could not go against their general. That's how loyal they were to him. And this is our so-called luminaries. These are our wandering stars. This is why they worship their Saturn and their Jupiter. Their Isus is Jupiter. These are not terra firma. These are stars. They can't land on Mars. It's a star. But we'll drop some more on that. And when I say star, then you think energy. And you say, whose energy? What energy? Well, if it's a wandering star, it's underneath the firmament. So it's not high level. It's in the lower heavens. Right? The celestial, the underworld. And this is when they tap into the underworld, which is the celestial. Almost.
Sixth day, outside paradise.
Almost. Let's go. Dismount.
But others think that the formation of Adam took place in the evening in paradise. According to some, paradise was created before the world, and according to others, on the third day. Bar Hebraeus says that Adam was created on Friday of the first week of Nisan, April, the first month of the first year of the world. So Nisan is supposed to be New Year's. The Egyptian and Ethiopian churches have a tradition that the angels were not all created at the same time. The great archangel Michael, who is called the Angel of the Face, and all his rank of angels were created in the first hour of Friday. The priests in the second, and the thrones in the third. The dominions or sultans in the fourth hour of Friday.
Wow.
The lords in the fifth, and the powers in the sixth. The tens of thousands in the seventh. The governors in the eighth. The masters in the ninth. After the governors, the rank of angels governed by Satan were created.
Whoa.
And then the 10th rank. According to a Coptic tradition preserved in the Discourse on Abaton, the Angel of Death by Timothy, Archbishop of Rakoti, Alexandria, the clay of which Adam was made was brought by the angel Muriel from the land of the east. When God had made his body, he left it lying for 40 days and 40 nights without putting breath into it.
Whoa.
At the request of our Lord, who promised to become Adam's advocate and to go down into the world, God breathed into Adam's nostrils the breath of life 3 times, saying, "Live, live, live, according to the type of my divinity." Thereupon Adam rose up and worshipped the Father, saying, "My Lord and my God." Fudge Coptic Martyrdoms, page 482. The revolt of Satan and the battle in heaven. And when the prince of the lower order...
Alright, so y'all can get the rest. The rest goes into the revolt. There's more dropped in there. Love and peace to y'all, man. Thanks for vibing with this story time. And yeah, you know, it's definitely time to shine. It's time to shine. Put that on a shirt, man. Love to y'all. Stay up, suit up, choose up.